Good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to A Course in Miracles. I'm Teri Angel here with my co-host Karen Palmer and Kaylee. She may contribute to our discussion tonight. And
more than likely she will.
Yeah, probably will. She loves the energy. We have Auntie Jean with us.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, beautiful background. And we have our Sharon Ria.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, honey. And our Christine Elizabeth and Sunny. Hello, Chris. You're unmuted.
Oh, how?
You're good, honey. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And Karen's going to lead us into our hearts to open up this discussion tonight.
Okay. So let's just take a few minutes to just notice your breath. Just notice how magical your breath is. Sometimes you gasp for air. Sometimes you don't even realize you're breathing. And then other times you take a moment and you slow down the breath. And you just feel yourself restoring, regenerating, remembering your natural self, who you really are, beyond this body, beyond this mind, beyond all the thoughts and beliefs and concepts and ideas. And our breath is the doorway to our home, to returning us to where we've never really left, only in our imagination. But boy, is our imagination powerful. Our beliefs can make a world that seems that we're apart from everything. Our imagination, our beliefs can take us into a nightmare or can wake us up in the most beautiful certainty. We choose every moment where we're going to be, who we're going to be, and what is going to lead and guide us. The light of truth is in us, where it was placed by God. The light of truth. Just feel into that knowing, into that complete knowing. The light of truth is in you, where it was placed by God. Feel that great ray of light, the pillar of light that goes from the top of your head, even above your head, even below your feet, but goes right through your body, right through this name and form that you are occupying right now. But you are light. The light of truth is in us, where it was placed by God. It is the body that is outside us. And it is not our concern. To be without a body is to be in your natural state. To recognize the light of truth is in us is to recognize ourselves as we truly are. To see ourselves as separate from the body is to end the attack on God's plan for salvation and to accept it instead. And wherever his plan is accepted, it is accomplished already. Remember, we spoke about the ego's plan. And the ego's plan is to find fault and judgment and be comfortable complaining and explaining how if everyone else would change, then you could be happy. That's the ego's plan. And we talked about it yesterday, how that ego's plan is really unconsciously, in our unawareness, being run in so many places. Think about our governments. Think about all the relationships and families. And if you just did what I told you to, this would have never happened. If you just were how I want you to be, then things could be different for us. Just let yourself just know with all your knowing, with all your certainty and gentleness, that we've all chosen that plan at one point or another. And we can very easily let it go. So if you've ever made a choice and the past is over, so it can't touch you, but if it's coming up and you're remembering and you're thinking, oh yeah, I remember, just right here, right now, in this beautiful, eternal now moment, just hand it over to Holy Spirit. Just very, very gratefully surrender, trust, and let it go. That plan never worked. It never worked. It never worked. And so just to have a giggle about it. You know, I'm writing a book right now called The Giggle Effect. And it's all about having a giggle about how ridiculous this ego's plan is. And how we won't be fooled again in this plan. Because we're choosing to be a part of God's plan. And we're asking every second, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to whom? So let's hear about your day.
Oh, it's so good to be back. I missed last night. I don't like missing, but thank you all for carrying on and just doing the Course in Miracles every day. I find myself in conversations with others bringing up lessons throughout the last, what's it been now? 4 months, 3 months that we've been together doing this, 71 days. And it just has taken over as part of my life, every day now to get into that. But I want to read from the Insights book, lessons, for this particular one. And it says, as I meditate today on accepting only God's plan for salvation, I see more clearly the absurdity of the ego thought system of separation. The ego would say, change anything and everything in the outer picture. Outer change does not work. Changing an outer picture while I still hold a thought of separation cannot work. There is no separation. Therefore, cause and effect are one. That is why change cannot work on the outer picture or in the ego thought system of separation. So that's what we're being taught. I don't think it's so much about grievances. I know sometimes we get tripped up by some of these words that's being used. And I think if we just look at it as our way of life, what are we doing? How are we handling every day? And knowing that the changes that we make are changes happening in here. And that's what I'm trying to share, maybe in a long way about it. But it's changed my life so much that this is my life now, because the change has come from inside, not from the outside. So I think that's where the Course is leading us to look, is that, we can't make those changes on the outside and expect anything to be different on the inside. It works the other way around, changing the inside thoughts and the inside habits. And then it becomes just a part of life. That's my 2 cents.
Mine is doing my rituals by every day. When I was 6 years old, we used to have a chore with me and my brother, and my parents are doing chores, and I doing my chores with Elsie at the Pamphlet. So I had to do more, and I understand. And I am my best every single day about chores.
It's beautiful, Christine.
Jean, you're
Well,
muted,
for me,
honey.
this has been, for me, this has been such, like, exactly what Teri's saying. I have really, for the first time in my human experience as this being known as Karen, I have truly stepped back and let love lead the way. I have truly learned how to keep quiet and to let things unfold without my controlling it or trying to believe that I have any kind of control over anything, which is really the silliest thing. And the book that I'm writing, The Giggle Effect, is all about how I've entered into this. There's that movie that's everybody's talking about, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and everybody's talking about that. I have entered into that frequency, and that frequency is to me called the eternal silliness frequency. And it has been the most incredible experience. That the writings that come through me and the messages that I am able to share is really just letting go, just surrendering, letting go, and letting what needs to be expressed through this form be expressed with no editing. I don't even edit the stuff. I just basically just write exactly what's being said. And people have said, when they get the message or whatever, they say, the editing, you need to have an editor. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing an editor. I've decided I'm letting this come through just the way that it's coming through. And the most powerful thing that I feel this plan, God's plan for salvation, is letting go of the past, forgiving myself for the unawareness that I had and the choices that came from that unawareness and the results of my false thinking, and letting myself be gentle and know that the truth has already come in and corrected all those errors. So all I need to do now is stay now. And so when ego comes in and the ego thought system tries to tell me, oh, we need to think about this, or what about that? And how did you, regret. I hear it like, so like, almost like the Peanuts gallery. I hear wah, 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 regret, wah, 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 regret, wah, wah, wah.
Right.
And then I can kind of just laugh at it and say, what do I have to regret? I have to regret a gentle little girl, a gentle, beautiful, wonderful little girl who was unaware of her power, who was unaware that she was creating, not co-creating any longer, but making things up, manifesting things that she didn't want to manifest and didn't know she was manifesting them because she was following the wrong teacher. And she thought she was following the real teacher. She really believed she was. And so I've just been really enjoying the truth has corrected all the errors. So now I just get to enjoy the benefits of those errors not having any effect anymore, even though they look like they're still affecting, and other people are, sometimes very unkind about situations still. And it's very painful for this little girl. That little girl is still dealing with the pain and dealing with the belief, the false belief that she needs that person to believe in her, that she needs that person to approve of her, that she needs that person to appreciate her. It's all been corrected. So that's the false belief, so gentle, gentle, gentle. When that comes up, it's a broken record being played, and it's not love. So it's not real. So I don't have to deal with it anymore because Spirit's taken over, please. And that's what the giggle effect is all about. I have all these acronyms that just bam, bam. This is how you answer to the ego. This is how you answer. This is what you say, not now. Only love is real. That's one of the biggest ones. Just answer. The response is gratitude, giggle, grace, gentleness, and giving. And those are the 5 G's of simplicity. And those are the most powerful way you can respond. Hi, Kaylee. The most powerful way you can respond to any situation that's external, anything that's happening externally. Gratitude, giggle, grace, gentleness, and then give it away. Give it. Once you've gotten all of those blessings, gratitude, giggle, grace, and gentleness, give it to as many people as you can, as many souls that you see. Just give them everything you have.
Well, I can't wait to see what this book is going to be like, Karen. I'm excited for you and for us. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I think Auntie Jean wanted to share something with us.
Oh, I was just going to share with them what I had told you all before we started, that I kept saying during my studies today that I don't have grievances. Stop telling me I have grievances. And I kept thinking, do I have grievances that I'm not aware of? That are going to show up later on, or are they just preparing me for that, or have I really let go so much of all the grievances that I just don't feel like I have to challenge that? And then the other thing was the thing about salvation, whether if we're talking about our own salvation, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I feel I was given that salvation at birth when God created me. And I realize I have free will and I have to choose, but maybe I just have never done anything really bad that I worry about that. I don't know. But, really, honestly, that maybe, I have made mistakes. I have made big mistakes, but I guess I've forgiven myself for them and just moved on and just, feel like how much I love the divine and how much he loves me. That's all I can say. Yeah. So I may be living in what they call it, a glass palace or something, like ice palace, something that might melt away. But right now, I'm just in so much joy most of the time. I just can't even, and I just stay away from the world unless I have to face it. And then I try to face it as Christ would face it. That's it.
That's beautiful, Karen and Jean and Teri. I don't really have anything to add. I'm just sitting in the glow of the three of you.
To join the aura.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what happens. See, that's what we're learning, is that our energy that we put out affects everyone, not just us. So when we're putting out that beautiful energy of love and peace and this joy that we feel inside, it does go to others and just brings in this beautiful mist of love. I just love that. And Sharon, I love that I'm physically in the same place with you. So we get to just wrap each other in that glow, and whatever happens to one happens to both of us as we go through this. So thank you for being here.
It's a blessing for me too, Teri. I'm glad you're here.
Let me see if anybody's saying anything to us virtually, and then we'll go into our lesson. We have our Grace Isis with us.
Oh, hi,
Grace.
Gracie.
Again online. But no other comments. So let's just get into what we're going to be doing tomorrow for our exercise.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So this is holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. While we have recognized that the ego's plan for salvation is the opposite of God's, we have not yet emphasized that it is an active attack on his plan and a deliberate attempt to destroy it. In the attack, God is assigned the attributes which are actually associated with the ego, while the ego appears to take on the attributes of God. The ego's fundamental wish is to replace God In fact, the ego is the physical embodiment of that wish. For it is this wish that seems to surround the mind with a body, keeping it separate and alone, and unable to reach other minds except through the body that was made to imprison it. The limit on communication cannot be the best means to expand communication, yet the ego would have you believe that it is. Although the attempt to keep the limitations that a body would impose is obvious here, it is perhaps not so apparent why holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. But let us consider the kinds of things you are apt to hold grievances for. Are they not always associated with something a body does? A person says something you do not like. He does something that displeases you. He betrays his hostile thoughts in his behavior. You are not dealing here with what the person is. On the contrary, you are exclusively concerned with what he does in a body. You are doing more than failing to help in freeing him from the body's limitations. You are actively trying to hold him to it by confusing it with him and judging them as one. Herein is God attacked. For if his son is only a body, so must he be as well. A creator wholly unlike his creation is inconceivable. If God is a body, what must his plan for salvation be? What could it be but death? In trying to present himself as the author of life and not of death, he is a liar and a deceiver, full of false promises and offering illusions in place of truth. The body's apparent reality makes this view of God quite convincing. In fact, if the body were real, it would be difficult indeed to escape this conclusion. And every grievance that you hold insists that the body is real. It overlooks entirely what your brother is. It reinforces your belief that he is a body and condemns him for it. And it asserts that his salvation must be death, projecting this attack onto God and holding him responsible for it. To this carefully prepared arena where angry animals seek for prey and mercy cannot enter, the ego comes in to save you. Here we go. Here ego says, God made you a body. Very well. Let us accept this and be glad. As a body, do not let yourself be deprived of what the body offers. Take the little that you can get. God gave you nothing. The body is your only savior. It is the death of God and your salvation. And this is what the ego tries to convince us, tries to get us to believe. This is the universal belief of the world that you see. Some hate the body and try to hurt and humiliate it, while others love the body and try to glorify and exalt it. But while the body stands at the center of your concept of yourself, you are attacking God's plan for salvation and holding your grievances against him and his creation, that you may not hear the voice for truth and welcome it as your friend. This is really what the ego is doing. It's really trying to keep us from communicating with God. from having a direct communication. The ego does not want us to have a direct communication with God and with Jesus and with Mary. And that's why the ego is always trying to tell us we're not worthy. You can't possibly be hearing the voice for God. You can't possibly. And so honestly, this is the attack. This is the attack. This is the way that the ego does this. So, but while the body stands at the center of your concept of yourself, you are attacking God's plan for salvation and holding your grievances against Him and His creation, that you may not hear the voice of truth and welcome it as your friend. Your chosen Savior takes His place instead. It is your friend, and He is your enemy now. We will try today to stop these senseless attacks on salvation, which is your freedom. Freedom. We're attacking our own freedom. We will try to welcome it instead. Your upside down perception has been ruinous to your peace of mind. You have seen yourself in a body and the truth outside you, locked away from your awareness by the body's limitations. Now we are going to try to see this differently. See, whenever we have a grievance, whenever we try to complain about anything that's happening, no matter what it is the ego's thought system trying to distract us from our true, honest, original self. It's never anything else. And that's the power of this. Like, once we really get that, it doesn't matter. You can't be fooled anymore by the appearances. You can't be fooled. It doesn't matter what pretty package it comes in. It doesn't matter. So the light of truth is in us, where it was placed by God. It is the body that is outside us, and it is not our concern. To be without a body is to be in our natural state. To recognize the light of truth in us is to recognize ourselves as we are. To see ourselves as separate from the body is to end the attack on God's plan for salvation. That's why when we meditate, when we go into our heart, when we go into the quiet, and we are in the silence and the stillness, the ego hates that. It does not want us to be still. It's like, oh, you got to get the laundry out. You got to do this. What are you doing? How come you're sitting? Why are we sitting here? What are we doing? It's just always just trying to keep us distracted and showing us all the differences. Oh, look at her. She looks different than you. She's not your sister. She's not your friend. She can't be your friend. Look at, she's so different than you. She has way more money. She has, more prestige. She's blah, blah, blah. That's the ego. That's all differences. The 5 Ds. I call those the 5 Ds. We have distraction, delusion, differences, duality, and disappointments. That's the ego. Those 5 Ds, if you get hooked into any of those Ds, you've been sucked into the rabbit hole. So to recognize the light of truth is in us is to recognize ourselves as we are. To see ourselves as separate from the body is to end the attack on God's plan for salvation and to accept it instead. Whenever His plan is accepted, it is accomplished already. Our goal in the longer practice periods today is to become aware that God's plan for salvation has already been accomplished. This is what Jesus told us with the resurrection. It's already been accomplished. This is all we're doing is watching it like an instant replay at a sporting event. We're watching it play out. So our goal in the longer practice period today is to become aware that God's plan is the only plan that we want, and that it's already been accomplished in us. To achieve this goal, we must replace attack with acceptance. As long as we attack it, we cannot understand what God's plan for us is. We are therefore attacking what we do not recognize. Now we are going to try to lay judgment aside and ask what God's plan for us is. Gently, quietly, get yourself in a really complete state of stillness and ask, what is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. You see, we think we know everything. We have the I know mind, and we think, oh, I already know what salvation is. I know the definition of salvation. I know the definition of, what I want. I know the definition. I know what's my best interest. Then we will wait in quiet for God's answer. We have attacked God's plan for salvation without waiting to hear what it is. We have shouted our grievances so loudly that we have not listened to his voice. We have used our grievances to close our eyes and stop up our ears. Now we would see and hear and learn, what is salvation, Father? Ask and you will be answered. Seek and you will find. We are no longer asking the ego what salvation is and where to find it. We are asking it of truth. Be certain then that the answer will be true because of whom you ask. Whenever you feel your confidence wane and your hope of success flicker and go out, repeat the question and your request, remembering what you are asking of the infinite creator of infinity, who created you just like himself. What is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. One or perhaps two shorter practice periods, an hour, will be enough today, since they will be somewhat longer than usual. These exercises should begin with this. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Let me accept it instead. What is salvation, my Father? Then wait a minute or so in silence, preferably with your eyes closed, and listen for his answer.
So beautiful. Thank you, Karen, for sharing that. And
that lesson is so powerful, and it was like a big awakening for me when I realized that was the truth, that the ego had gotten my attention and that it was trying to be God, that I was, and it was going to end up with, the ego wants us dead. It doesn't want us to wake up. It doesn't want us to have the awakening experience. It wants us to complain our way into our own death. Yeah. Complain and explain our own way into our own death. And it wants to keep us distracted from getting quiet enough so that we can actually hear the voice for love.
Well, we certainly appreciate you and keeping us on track. And keeping on track, it's time to chant. And our first chant is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
And this is where we're going to chant 3 times slow, and then we'll chant 108 times all together. And then beautiful Auntie Jean will let us know when we get to that magic number. And then beautiful Teri Angel will lead us in a meditation on freedom. And then we'll go into our second chant. So we declare that all obstacles be removed. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. we declare that all barriers, conflicts, and violence be removed. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. We declare that all illusions and illness be removed. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Let's take a breath into our heart center. Focus in on the energy of freedom, the energy that happens when we let go and we just release anything other than love, because love is the only thing that's real. So if we're holding other energy that's coming from our head and not from our heart and our knowledge, that it's just an illusion. So as we go into the higher vibration of release and letting go, we're going to go to our next chant, which is known as the miracle chant, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And welcome, Mary Crincoli. Thank you for being with us tonight. So Karen, would you please talk about this chant?
Okay, so this is where we're going to chant 3 times slow, and then we'll chant 108 times all together. And beautiful Auntie Jean will let us know when we get to that magic number. And then beautiful Teri Angel will lead us in a short part of our next session. And then we will go into our declaration and see what comes from there. So we declare that all are accepting, aligning, allowing, and awake. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. We declare that all are happy and healthy. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. We declare that all live in peace and harmony and are open and ready to receive miracles. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. 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 Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam 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 Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam
Nam
Myoho
Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam
Nam Myoho
Myoho
Renge Kyo.
Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho
Nam
Renge
Myoho
Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam
Nam Myoho
Myoho
Renge Kyo.
Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho
Nam
Renge
Myoho
Kyo.
Renge
Nam Myoho
Kyo.
Renge
Nam
Kyo.
Myoho
Nam Myoho
Renge
Renge
Kyo.
Kyo.
Nam
Nam
Myoho
Myoho Renge Kyo.
Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho
Nam
Renge
Myoho
Kyo.
Renge
Nam
Kyo.
Myoho Renge
Nam
Kyo. Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam
Nam Myoho
Myoho
Renge Kyo.
Renge Kyo.
Nam
Nam
Myoho
Myoho
Renge Kyo. Nam
Nam
Myoho Renge
Myoho
Kyo. Nam
Renge
Myoho
Kyo.
Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho
Nam Myoho
Renge
Renge Kyo.
Kyo.
Nam
Nam
Myoho
Myoho
Renge Kyo.
Renge
Nam
Kyo.
Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam
Nam
Myoho
Myoho Renge Kyo.
Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho
Nam
Renge Kyo.
Myoho
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. 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 Nam
Nam Myoho
Myoho Renge
Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge
Kyo.
Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge 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 Kyo. Nam
Myoho
Myoho
Renge
Renge
Kyo.
Kyo.
Nam
Nam
Myoho
Myoho
Renge
Renge
Kyo. Nam
Kyo.
Myoho
Nam
Renge Kyo.
Myoho Renge
Myoho
Nam
Renge
Myoho
Nam
Renge
Myoho
Kyo.
Renge
Nam
Kyo.
Myoho
Nam
Renge Kyo.
Myoho Renge
Nam
Kyo.
Myoho
Nam
Renge
Myoho
Kyo.
Nam
Renge
Myoho
Kyo.
Renge
Nam
Kyo.
Myoho Renge Kyo.
Let's take a breath into our hearts. Just go to that place where you connect with your higher self, that place where there's only love and light. And as we are there, we recognize as love is the only thing that is real, God is love. So God directs all of our path, and we want to give back. We want to give that love. So we chant Om, which is the cosmic sound of God. And we chant it 3 times every night, acknowledging and honoring our Creator. And then let's stay in our hearts for just a moment to connect further in and really immerse ourselves in that love, and then give it away to others in the world. So please join us as we take a breath in and chant Om. Om. And now, holding that beautiful energy of love in our hearts, we're going to create a wave out into the world. So all together, we are going to breathe in the love coming from the divine, hold it and give it a squeeze in our hearts, and then send that forward into the world with our out breath. So breathe in love, hold it, and then exhale it out to the world, wherever it needs to go. And with us doing this together, it's very powerful, and it makes a bigger impact where 2 or more are doing this. So thank you to everyone who's sharing your love, everyone who's sending that message out to the world that there is peace on earth. This is what it looks like. It looks like love. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And every night we do make a declaration. So I would like to share with you what we declare, and anyone out there would like to say it along with us. We do it all together. And hi, Marlene came in to join with us. Hi, Marlene. So every night we declare that there is peace on earth, and we declare that peace begins inside of us. So please join us on 3, 2, 1.
We declare that there is peace on earth, and we declare that peace begins inside of us.
Always.
Forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
So beautiful.
And we do this as a group named Peace for
Peace.
Yes, we do.
And Teri's a P. and Chris is a P,
Yep.
and Karen's a P, Marlene's a P, and I'm a P. Someone else is out there, forgot. Who is it?
Gracie,
Gracie
Mary.
and Mary are also P's. So wouldn't you like to be a P too? So we can all be P's for P's.
let's all be peas. I
Let's
love
all
that thought. Oh, and
Peace is
Gracie,
coming around the corner. Is she here? Is she going to sing first?
she typed in the words to "The Hills Are Alive" with the sound
The
of
sound of
chanting.
And
But the only one I can sing is coming around the corner.
Well, then maybe Karen can lead us in "The Hills Are Alive."
Excellent.
The hills are alive
alive
with the sound
Sound
of
of
chanting
chanting.
and the
And the
sprinklings of
sprinkling of
peace
peace.
and the smiles on
Faces.
faces, reminding us to be kind.
Beautiful.
Because peace is
Peace
coming
is
coming
around the
around
corner
the
when
corner
we
when we
chant.
Peace
Peace
is
is
coming
coming
around the
around the
corner when we
corner when we chant. Peace is
Peace
coming
is
around
coming
the
around the
corner when we
corner.
see
Smiles
smiles on
on
people's
people's
faces. Peace
faces.
is coming
Coming
around the
around the
corner
corner
when
when
we
we chant.
chant.
And be kind.
Definitely be kind.
Oh, I love this. Thank you all. Thank you for being here tonight. Everyone that sent out that love into the world, you're a blessing. And thank you for doing so. We're here every night. I can't remember exactly what number we're on, but we're way over the 1,000 mark.
115. No, 115.
1015.
1,016. Okay. So
No.
come back tomorrow. We'll do it
50.
again. And we love you so much. Stay in your hearts and stay blessed. We
Well,
leave you with
Namaste,
y'all.
bye, everyone. Good night,
bye.
Gracie. Good night,
Bye,
Marlene.
Good night,
Gracie.
Good night,
Gracie. We
Mary.
miss you.
Love you.
Well,
Love
Love you all
you.
so much.
Love you.
Bye now.